Hey, welcome back, viewer. I was watching one of those videos of Code Pink and Hasan.
Here we are on our way to Cuba! And we're here to say...
Cuba sí, bloqueo no! Cuba sí, bloqueo no!
These bourgeois champagne socialists who went down to Cuba to show off their fancy wares and
to prescription lenses, it's probably another $600. This guy going out there with at least a $5,000 outfit.
and to throw food at the Cubans to get them to dance.
Cuba, featuring pampered Western commies, including Hasan, who has been accused of throwing food at Cuban children. The goal of this whole exercise is to embarrass the American government, the Trump administration, blaming them for Cuba's many issues.
And using up the electricity for their speeches, their entertainment or whatever, and having air conditioning, all this pompous stuff while the Cuban people suffer, and going down there and saying how great Cuba is and blaming all the poverty and oppression on the United States. And I'll probably make a separate video on that, but what I wanted to speak to is just I don't understand the communist mindset, the Marxist mindset, the Marxist-leaning liberals in America who hate on America and want it to be socialist, want it to be Marxist. Now they don't understand that if you want that sort of lifestyle, you have the freedom to do that here. For one, you have the freedom to leave. They don't have the freedom to leave in Cuba. They don't have the freedom to leave in communist countries. The communist governments do not want you to leave. The socialist governments do not want you to leave. I mean, look at Hochul in New York being upset about the millionaires leaving. Like, they want to punish you for leaving and taking your money with you. They don't want you to leave. North Korea does not let you leave. Okay, people have to flee. They got to break out of those countries. And why aren't the leftists upset about that? They call America a fascist state, and then they'll go visit a place that's an actual, you can call it whatever you want. It's a communist state, not much different than a fascist state, truly. And they'll go someplace where the people are not free to leave, and then they'll celebrate it. But in America, in a freer country, in a capitalist style country, in the West, you have the freedom. If you want to go collectively, like, get a group of people, go buy a big old plot of land somewhere, and you can collect your means of production there and practice your socialism, practice your communism. You probably you'll still have to pay taxes. You're like the closest thing to this is probably something like the Amish living very isolated. Right? Like, you could, if you communists want to live in want to practice it, and people have, and of course, pretty sure it always fails. Human nature always comes back, and communism goes against human nature, whereas capitalism works with human nature, the freedoms we desire. But you got the freedom to do that. In socialist communist countries, they don't give you the freedom to do that. You don't have the freedom to go, you know what? I don't like this socialism thing. I don't like the way that this command economy, this top-down government-controlled economy is going. So we're gonna go do our capitalist thing. No, they have to do illegal black markets because it still exists, because the capitalism still exists in the most oppressive of places, even in North Korea, because it's just human nature that there's still black markets, but they're then illegal. It's illegal to be doing that kind of thing. So the communist countries make it illegal to do that. And in free capitalist societies, you want to go try be communist, now you're not going to be able to live off off of everybody else's dime, but you can collectivize and get your plot of land and try it out. You're still going to have to pay your pound of flesh and taxes to the government. You'll get in trouble if you try to avoid the IRS. But otherwise, you still live out the fantasy. Oh, show us how well it works. Prove it. Prove how well it works. But they don't do that. They know, and Karl Marx knew, that if there's capitalism anywhere else in the world, that people are going to want to go to that. The Marxists of the Frankfurt School, the postmodernists, like, they could see how communism failed. There was no revolution in the West. Things got too good for the working class. People can move upward. People move upward. They move into a middle class. They can have a good life. There's no reason for the revolution. There's no reason for the Marxism, the communism, the socialism. Because you have a better life without it. Because it's obvious how that tears society down. All it does is deconstruct. And so under capitalism, you have the freedom to try that out. You have the freedom to experiment with that. Try to prove that system is better. Under that system, it takes all control. It's totalitarian in its nature. Capitalism is not. And capitalism works with human nature. The socialists don't want you having the ability to have your markets to buy and sell freely, to determine what you're willing to work for, what you're willing to sell things for, to be able to acquire the means of production, to own a business. The socialists, the Marxists, they don't want you to be able to own a business. They don't want you to be able to go, you know what, I think I could provide this service, I think I could provide this product, I think I could provide a better way of doing this thing, I could provide some invention, something that's going to be better. I think I could run something. I think I could like, a business is like, I can build this little kingdom. You have the freedom to build this little kingdom where you get to be the head of the company, and you get to go, I think I've got ideas that work better. I think I can lead people, and I get to get rewarded by that. And then it provides people jobs and opportunity, and they could build up. And maybe they can even have the success or get the, like, they can have the opportunity. You can go, you know what, I think I could build a better mousetrap. I'm going to go start my own company or start my own practice. And you have the freedom to do that. Whereas you don't have the freedom to do that in a socialist country. So, in one place you have the freedom to do this, and under the other system you don't. Which one's more fascist? As the leftists claim that capitalism is all fascist, totalitarian, and destructive. If they're willing to go down to Cuba and lie to the Cubans and lie to us when we can see on video, we can see throughout history how oppressed they are, how oppressed all the communist countries were. You know, as Asmongold points out, it's like the U.S. government embargo doesn't make how would that make the communist government like kill their own journalists? How does that make sense?
What does that have to do with their schools? What does that have to do with the government killing people that disagrees with them? What does that have to do with them not allowing other political parties? It has nothing to do with that. These are purely ideological. And
how does the embargo, never mind all the wealth that was being given to the Cubans by the Soviet Union being propped up, how does that explain all the totalitarian elements, all the oppression elements? It goes with the system. Just as they try to censorship here, just as they try to control language here. It's all part of the ideology. That's why I call them out. Call out the left as the Marxists. Because they need to be associated and called out that their ideas are the same ones that killed 100 million plus people in the 20th century. Their ideas are the same ones as Mao and Lenin and Marx and Che, these murderous people and murderous ideologies that starve people and deconstruct not just ideologically society, but deconstruct society literally, so that it is falling apart morally, falling apart physically in the infrastructure. That is not the U.S.'s embargo's fault. That is the nature of Marxism. One gives you the freedom to produce and thrive, even to try out your idiotic, failed ideas over and over again. And you'll face the consequences too when your commune fails, when it falls apart, falls into chaos and disrepair and conflict, because it won't work. Because the only place that communism of a sort works is the nuclear family, where mom and dad are loving each other, they're loving their children, and sacrificing their family for their family willingly, and everybody's doing their part in the family, and you all love each other. Of course, that's not literally communism, but the closest thing of the utopia that the Marxists want is one of the very things that they want to destroy, which is the family. And even that's hard to make. It's hard to make family work. Lots of people have broken families. Like if you can't make a self-sacrificial, purely do-gooder system work between like two people over a lifetime, a couple, or 3 or 4 when you have kids, a family or more, even that's hard. Even that's rife with conflict. And if you have freeloaders, that's going to be a problem, because everyone's got to do their part. Never mind all the economic problems with trying to control an entire economy and millions of people, which is impossible. Maybe you take that element out, just the social element. It's hard to do in a family. And the Marxist utopists imagine that you can somehow force society into that with enough totalitarian control. That's the vision. That you could reshape humanity to make that work, and it doesn't. It's the height of irony that they point to like Nordic countries that have a lot of racial, they're largely white. These small population, largely white countries with Christian heritages. It's so ironic they point to these as like, well, that's the sort of socialism they want. While they're looking up to Mao and Xi and things like that, they look up to the communists, but tell us they want the mixed capitalist economies, semi-socialist economies of the Nordic countries. It's just ironic. Anyway, that's what I've got for you today. Please like and subscribe if you like this kind of thing, and I'll see you next time. And please leave a comment below. What do you think about this? What do you think about the Champagne Socialists going down to Cuba and telling us, lying to our faces? And if they'll lie down there, they'll lie to us here, to our faces. What do you think about that? And yeah, please leave a comment. Thank you.